actually got the shortest speech in history, okay? Hamilton, you talked. You said you were going to do 2 minutes. Jeez, I tell you, you're such a liar. Yeah. Yeah. But you are a friend, okay? Now, if I could just... Oh, God. Well, Boitano was the first one to speak tonight, so I feel that I should tell you a little story about Brian that nobody knows. And a team of horses couldn't pull it from me. But when I go back with the tour to Oakland, California, I think it was
Excuse me.
80, in early 80s anyhow, and we would play Oakland each year on the tour. And about a week before we got to the city, I would get this call from his coach, Linda Lever. And she would say, "Tommy, could you please put my pupil on the show in Oakland? He is just so good." And I said, "Well, okay, what's his name?" She said, "Brian Boitano." And it was just garbage to me. I never heard of the guy. Anyhow, we skated on the tour in Oakland for 3 years. And really, that's all I could take. No, you didn't know Boitano when I knew him, okay? I mean, he improved a lot starting in '88, okay? But before that, he wasn't a very good skater. He really wasn't, I tell you. This last year, he did a robot number. You know, and he had a one-piece silver costume on. And started here, the zipper went all the way down. And he had electric flashes shooting out in front of the skates. The heel of the skates would come from his sleeve here, past his hands, around his neck, around his waist. I really thought he was going to electrocute himself. And then on the last show, I said, "Linda, could I see you, please?" And she came over and we talked. He said, "You know that student you had, what's his name?" He said, "Brian Boitano." I said, "Now this is my own personal observation. And I just would like to tell you truthfully that I don't think Brian Boitano will ever go anywhere in the world of figure skating." Yep. Well, anyhow, that's the way it goes. What are you going to do, right? And Brian went on. He skated his entire career with me, which was 15 years. And I love him dearly, and we've been friends for 100 years. And I would like to thank you for coming here tonight, Brian. And now, the great one, Michelle Kwan. Well, I really go back with her. Summer of '93, the manager of the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas, called me and said, "Tommy, they're having an Olympic festival here in the building, and I think maybe you could come down and look at it because you're going to put your show in the building the following year, the Olympic year." And that year we played all the domes. We played the Alamo Dome, we played the Superdome, the Carrier Dome, and the Tacoma Dome. So anyhow, I called Don Watson, I said, Don, the manager wants us to go down there and look at the configuration. It'll be exactly the same as we have for the show. So we went down there, got our work done, and then let's watch the show. So we're watching the show, and all of a sudden this scrawny girl comes out with toothpick legs. I mean, and she just, but there was something special about her. I just got mesmerized by her. I said, wow, this lady's going to be something. Really, I really feel it, okay? And she was only 12 years old. And no one ever, who the hell heard of Michelle Kwan and had her? Are you kidding? So I got her, I put her on the Olympic tour in 1994. And of course, nobody knew what we did call it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Kwan. You get nobody knew her. So I said, I got to get a look here. And I said, aha. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Kwan. And she's only 13 years old. And that did it. It really was. It worked out well. It really did. God, I would also like to thank you, Michelle, for coming here, and saying a few things about me. In Hamilton, well, this is something you won't believe. Well, when he was around me, he had hair and he was 6 foot tall. I wouldn't lie to any of you here. They're not. But he did okay as an amateur, But when he joined Capades, that's when he got smaller, okay? Dick Palmer and Bob Turk pounded on him for 4 years. And now here's what you've got. And also another thing, and on the Olympic tour in '84 after Sarajevo, he was our star, and Peter Crothers and I would wait every night to see what beautiful women he would bring through the back door. Whether it was a blonde, a brunette, a redhead, and he never disappointed us. Now, Crothers and I are saying, hey, he's no oil painting. And then, not that we were that much, but we said, why? How? I mean, look at it. And anyhow, I said, Peter, we both looked at each other. He said, Tommy, when you have a gold medal, you can do anything. It was the truth. Oh, God, and stars, not stars, but anyhow, we'll get into that, okay? One thing everybody will remember about Scott Hamilton, besides his phenomenal personality on and off the ice, and that great creative skating that he did so well for so long, and of course his famous backflip. Scott was the heart and soul and the founder of Stars on Ice. And I'm honored to say that we still talk. Yeah, he left me, into bigger and better things. But tonight, everything is all made up, Scott. Okay? Thank you for being here. Well, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of my life, and I mean really fast, okay? First of all, I was born in Toronto, Canada, on April 3rd, 1931. By my rapid calculations, that makes me 82 years old. And tonight, I feel like I'm 100. There were 4 children in the Collins family. There was my late sister Marty, myself, my brother Butch, who is here, and my late brother Harris. We lived in Toronto for about 2 years, and then my dad decided that he wanted to move up to Northern Ontario to the gold mining area. So up we go. We moved to Kirkland Lake, Ontario. Population 18,000. And it was a gold mining city. It had about 25 gold mines. And pardon? Also, my education was quite brief. I went to Holy Name School, where I never got past the 8th grade, never graduated. But in those times, I think you would call me dumb. I attempted to play hockey, like every young boy in Canada, dreaming of maybe playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So my parents bought me hockey equipment. And there I was, out on the ice, with my stick down, and all of a sudden, that black piece of rubber was passed to me, and I got it in the end of my stick. I couldn't believe I had the puck on my stick, right? And I skated around. I made about a round and a half, and I shot, and I scored. Me, I'm running around cheering and everything, and someone came over to me and said, "Tommy, you scored in your own goal." And another person came up and said, "You know, maybe you should take up figure skating." I look back when I was 15 years old. I took a job in the gold mine to help pay for my summer skating lessons, which in Kirkland Lake I skated, of course, and in the summer I'd go to a small town about 90 miles north where I lived called Schumacher, Ontario. And I would skate there, and every morning my dad and I would get up at around 6 a.m. He would make me breakfast, would pack our lunch pail, and we would walk to the deepest gold mine in North America, Lakeshore Gold Mine, which was 8,000 feet deep. At the mine, my dad and I would put on our miner's clothing, get on my miner's hat with the light in the front, and then the cord running down my back to the battery around my waist. And then we'd walk out to an area that had about 500 other miners who were waiting to go down in the cage. We would get in, about 150 of us would get in this steel cage, steel mesh, water dripping down all 4 sides, and then they would close the door and they would literally drop the cage. And the levels where we got out were 200 feet apart. And they got that cage going so fast that the levels would go past. Pew, pew, pew. I will never forget it. And then we got out at the 5,000 foot level, went to the work area, got our pick and shovel, wheelbarrow, whatever it is, and then we'd go down the tunnel to the very end. And we worked in an area about hardly bigger than the two of us for 8 hours. And it was an experience I will never forget. Working in the gold mines was something I don't think you would ever want to try. Then things changed. Then on August 29th, 1949 was the day that changed my life. I received a telegram from Holiday on Ice informing me that he had hired me as a chorus skater and that I was to report to Toledo, Ohio, to the sports arena as soon as possible. They told me my salary would be for rehearsals, $35 a week. And when the show opened, it would go up to $65 a week. Holiday on Ice was the greatest time of my life. I often refer to that period as the golden years. However, it wasn't all so wonderful. My sister Marty was flying from Minneapolis to Miami with three children, and the plane crashed. And it was on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 1960. I was devastated because Marty was the main reason that I started skating. I left Holiday on Ice. At that point, I started my own promotion and merchandising company. And just to name a few of the people I've worked with, Neil Diamond, Bob Dylan, and the late John Denver, and many, many more. I'll just tell you a short story about the John Denver tour. We're in Mobile, Alabama, and it was all cash in those days. There were no credit cards. We never accepted checks. So here, I was the banker for all the money. So, after the show, I'd pack up everything, go to the hotel, go up to my room, and go to the bathroom, and look around. And then there was in this Mobile, they had a tub shower, so I pulled the shower curtain back, put my briefcase with $100,000 in the bathtub and close the curtain. And then I would take off and go downstairs and meet Mr. Denver and the band and everybody, and had a great night. As we were leaving the bar, there must have been about 20 of us, I was walking, we were just all walking on the grass outside the Holiday Inn. And then I looked over and I saw this guy coming out of my room carrying my briefcase. And holy jeez, I said, my God, the guy's got my briefcase. And there goes Denver, says, yeah, well, let's get him. So I said, okay. So we were running, about 20 of us, to get this guy so I could buy, because I was responsible for the money, you know, who cares? So anyhow, we're running, and all of a sudden Denver says, stop or I'll shoot. You know, that Donald Duck voice he's got. And lo and behold, hey, the guy dropped the case and took off. Saved my life, just about. Now, another time with Neil Diamond, we're in Little Rock, Arkansas. Same thing. I had about $150,000 in the bag, in that briefcase of mine. And we were in a bar again. And we went every night and had a little nightcap, okay? And then we all went to our rooms, the same as with Denver. And I had all this money. And I went into the bathroom. There's no tub. They got a glass shower. So where am I going to put this money? Well, went out to the main room, and there was the bed. I said, I can't put the briefcase under the bed. So I lifted up the mattress. And I said, wow. So got my briefcase and put over $100,000 under the mattress and went out. Had a great time. Get up the next morning. We're on the plane to Greensboro. And then Neil comes over and sits, which he does, no big deal. Scott knows him quite well. And he says, how are things going, Tommy? I said, oh, Neil, great. You know, if you stick with me, you're going to become a millionaire. Anyhow, he said, okay, I was just checking, want to make sure everything is okay. I said, oh, don't worry about a thing. When he left, I went to the back of the plane and sat there, and I tell you, I thought I was going to die. And so when the plane landed, I got, didn't have cell phones then. I went right over the closest phone in the hangar and got on it and called the general manager of the hotel and told him what a stupid, idiotic thing that I did, and he agreed 100%. So I said, would you do me a favor? I said, please, go to the room, I gave my room number, and see if it's still there, the money. Well, I waited and waited and waited, and then guy got on the phone, he says, Mr. Collins, it's your lucky day. We had to clean the room, and the money was there. Now, what do you want me to do with it? I said, take $5,000 for yourself, send the rest of me to Greensboro Federal Express, which he did. My God, I tell you, rock and roll. Let's see, what else do I have? Next day, yeah, we got that all done. To the plane. Well, I started Champions on Ice in 1969, right after the World Figure Skating Championships in Colorado Springs. The tour lasted for, I told Scott tonight, 37 years through 2007. But the early years, they were they were not profitable at all. There were cities where we had more skaters on the ice than we had in attendance. Yeah, we just It was tough, it really was. And then there was one year that I didn't have enough money to produce the show. So I said, now, Christ, I'm a gold miner's son. I didn't have any money. And I said, who can I borrow the kind of money I wanted to borrow? And I thought of Kenneth Feld. But I said, no, if he'd give it to me in a minute and take my show. So he was out. Yeah. But I knew a man that I really liked and I trusted, and I thought he may loan me the money. His name was Bill Wirtz. He owns the Chicago Blackhawks. And I called and asked him if I could see him the following day and have lunch with him. I wanted to talk to him about something. So he said, yeah, God, come on down tomorrow, 12 noon, and we'll have lunch in my office. I said, great. So I flew down to Chicago, was in his office at 12 noon, and when I went in his office, he was there with his son, Peter Wirtz, talking hockey. And they kind of ignored me. They were in such discussion about these damn hockey players. And then he said, then all of a sudden he turned around and said, oh, Tommy, God, how are you? Great. He said, you want to talk to me about something? I said, I sure do. And he said, well, what do you need? Well, I swallowed, and I said, I need $1 million. And he said, just $1 million? I said, yeah, $1 million. And he says, okay, I'll send it to you next week. But let me tell you about this hockey player. I never signed a piece of paper with a man. Paid him back very quickly. But it was a hair-raising experience. You're trying to put on a show when you don't have the money. What do, you know? He was a great guy. We remained close personal friends for years, and he died 7 years ago, and I really, really, truly miss him. He was like a father to me. As you know, my late wife, Janie, also skated with Holiday on Ice. We were fortunate to have 3 boys, Mike, Mark, and Marty, who are with me tonight, right here. They joined me in the business, and I'd like to acknowledge them along with my brother Butch and Don Watson. Good, you guys stand up, Don? Good, everybody? You know, I was able to be successful in the world of figure skating for over 70 years. And I have to tell you, I enjoyed every minute of it. And I'd like to thank all of you here tonight for listening to an old man go down memory.
Thank you, Tommy. That was a fantastic story. And we all, like we said earlier, love you. thank you for everything you've done for us over all the years. Now I guess there's going to be dancing. Enjoy yourselves. Holy cow. Not yet. Now, we have something special for Tommy. And we want you to come back up here again and receive your award.
One more time.
Are you ready? Here we go. Get your first pair of skates. This is very special. And no, it isn't. But you are the first recipient of this award, which will be carried on in the future. But please let us present the Tommy. Is that spectacular? That's gorgeous. Thank you very much. And at the next Holiday on Ice reunion, you have to pick the recipient and present it. Yeah. Good. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody. What a great evening. Hope you've enjoyed. Dancing's going to start and have a fun time. Thank you.